Good morning, good morning, good morning. BA 2014 is thrilled to welcome our 11 o'clock presenter, author and performer Tanille Edwards.
Just rock your hands for a minute. Now this song is about if you ever wondered if you could give someone all of you. When you came back, you said there's no one else for you. I didn't wait too soon. I'm not plan B. It should have always been me. Every time I don't trust, it starts with arguments. But I have a right to. You know what you put me through. Now that I see the other side, how can I trust you? Will you love me? Drop a dime a lot for me. Use your last breath to find me. If I was lost, set me free. Could it be? Can I trust with all of me? Will you be there when I'm in need? Daddy say you're an option, not a priority. See how you often will call back, don't you know how it be? Don't you see that I got every single part of me? How can I truly fall when your lies remind me? Swear now, promise me. Will you be there when I'm in need? Would you love me? Drop a dime a lot for me. Use your last breath to find me. If I was lost, set me free. Could it be? Can I trust with all of me? Will you be there when I'm in need? Baby, yeah, I love you. Oh, I got nothing to lose. I got something to gain. How I wish, baby, loving you brought me pain. On a lifetime of my life, waste my time. My love is long gone. I don't understand why. I gave you everything you ever asked for. Never thought it'd come near you out the door. Baby, come back to me, baby. Baby, come back, come back. How miss me? If I'm all you dream of, if I'm all you see, baby, will you come back, baby, come back and love me, go to places that we need to. But tell me, who's loving you? Who's got you? I wonder, I to see. All I know is lonely you left me. I gave you everything you ever asked for. Never gonna come near you out the door. Baby, come back to me. Baby, come back, come back. How miss me? If I'm all you dream of, if I'm all you see, baby, will you come back, baby, come back and love me, Is there a reason for you leaving? Back to me, baby, come back. So this is my new song that comes with Broken the Novel. Everybody stand up for me and clap your hands. Nothing in particular that you do today. I just feel like I'm a flash out, but it's okay. It's not okay for you to break my heart. It's not okay to treat me like you can stop and die. It's not okay to say you love me so, and then turn around and look confused like you
So that song is from my newest novel, Broken the Novel by Tanille. It's a new media novel that comes with music, as well as, obviously, it's a book. So let's get into some frequently asked questions. Just a list of some of the songs. So Broken does release on June 30th. All of Me comes with it. Baby Come Back to Me. It's Not Okay. Those are the 3 songs I just performed for you guys. We're going to go into some author questions. So these are frequently asked questions that I get when I go do readings and signings at book clubs, and also we get on social media. When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer? So I actually started out writing screenplays. I've been writing since I was 16. I spent my summer that I turned from 15 to 16 writing my first screenplay. Eventually, through the craft of writing, 3 years later, I was able to get an option on that. I spent a lot of my time during college really traveling back and forth to Los Angeles trying to get deals for my scripts. Then I came upon the story for Broken. So Broken is a really special story. It's about a young supermodel from New York's Upper East Side who's disabled and she falls in love. When I came upon this story, I knew it could not be just a screenplay. Because a lot of times screenplays, you sell them, you option them, they never see the light of day. So I knew that I really wanted to take this to another level so people could read it, live with this story, and understand who my main character, Milan, is. How long does it take to write a book? So this is a trick question. Some people, it's really quick. For me, the process is kind of long. I like to start out with my first draft. That takes maybe about 6 months or so. And then I put it away. I live with it for a while. And then I try and come back with stories, real people's stories, experiences that I've had, and I come up with ideas in the next 6 months to make it bigger and better. So all in all, Broken has taken me a couple of years to write and kind of develop. It is part 1 of a 3-part series. But I think this is a little bit of a trick question. There's no right answer to this. It's just the process will take you where it takes you. What is your work schedule like when you're writing? So when I am writing, I typically write a lot at night. I'm a nighttime kind of a person, so I write probably starting around 9 o'clock, and I'll go until 2 or 3, and I do that. So I become a little bit of a night owl, and sometimes I do a little bit of daytime work. Sometimes I wake up at 3 in the morning, and I'm writing from 3 to 4, 3 to 5, go back to sleep and keep writing. So it's an interesting process. What is Broken about? So Broken is really a story about a young girl. She falls in love with a guy that comes to live with her and her family, and then he's sent away. And she's still really in love with this guy, but other complications come into the mix. So she's trying to find herself. She's trying to really become the person she's supposed to be, deal with some of the challenges that she's keeping secret, and also wondering if this guy's ever going to return. So it's a complicated kind of a situation, but it makes for an interesting story, and you really get the emotional feeling of it. What would you say is your interesting writing quirk? This is a tricky one. So I have tons of Post-its. So my wall looks like cold case files, pretty much. I've got Post-its about everything, about characters, about what I think these people should say, down in chapter 16, and I might be in chapter 4. I think my quirk is really keeping a lot of little notes, and then as I go along, pulling them down off the wall and putting them together into the story. Do you think characters from Cameo will appear in the Broken sequel? So this was a question from a latest reading that I did that was in New Jersey earlier this month. So Cameo is my first young adult novel, so it comes with music as well. And that is a thriller about a young girl who's being stalked by a secret society, and she's got to find out who, what, and why. I do have a favorite character. She's not the main character. She is a sideline character, and I'm really hoping to bring her back into the Broken sequel. So it should make for a lot of fun. For those of you that enjoy Cameo, if you haven't, you still have the opportunity. But I do think it's interesting to cross-pollinate the characters. Both of the stories take place in New York, one out in Long Island. Broken is a true New York story based in New York City from New York's Upper East Side. But when the kids come to college, there's going to be a chance for them to meet up. How did I come up with Milan, the main character in Broken? When I was 16, it's a very busy year for me, I actually took sign language as an extracurricular activity. I would go to local high school in the evenings and take sign language. I was really taken by this. So I wanted to create a character that I could incorporate this element into, a character that was facing some of the issues that the deaf do face. And that, I think, inspired Milan, but I also wanted her to be someone that everyone admired. Someone who was beautiful, who was driven, smart, but also had this another side to her. Because I think a lot of times we think that those of us that are very attractive say, oh, someone's beautiful, they have everything. But everyone is dealing with something, and I thought that this would be a unique way to display that in a story. How is Broken, a romance novel, different from Cameo, your first young adult fiction? It's slower paced. The romance is a little bit slower paced. Additionally, it's much more driven by the feelings, and you really have to look into, I would actually say it's probably more of an ensemble story. So everybody kind of has their own mix to bring a little bit more synergy into the mix. I think that's some of the main differences. What do you think makes a story good? I think the characters. At the heart of it, we fall in love with characters. We fall in love with how they're feeling, who they are, what they represent, the struggles that they're going through. We're looking for something that's genuine as readers. And as a writer, I try to tap into what I find is most genuine in myself and the people who are in my personal context, and I try to bring that to life. So Broken by Tanille. So the interesting thing about all of my books, you'll notice, is that they have the Undercover Starlet brand throughout them. And Milan ends up being a model for Undercover Starlet brand as well. So that's something that's fun as well. That's part of the new media edge that we bring to my novels. Now at this time, we can take any questions from the audience. Does anyone have a question? Yes.
Yes, I actually wanted to know, where could I get more information?
Okay. So the Broken website is brokenthenovel.com. If you're interested in Cameo, the Cameo website is cameothenovel.com. Broken will be available everywhere June 30th. Starting next week, it'll be available for pre-order. Also, for those of you that are looking for galley copies, you can access those online as well. Does anyone have any additional questions?
You've mentioned 2 books. Do you have anything else in your back catalog, or do you have anything else planned?
So I actually have a green children's book series called Jordan and Justine's Weekend Adventures. So that's a series where kids learn about how to go green at home and in their community. It's 3 parts. There's plants, there's wildlife, and there's also Go Go Green. In terms of having additional things planned, so Broken is part 1 of a 3-part series. So I'm right now writing part 2. So that's where I'm at with that. Are there any additional questions? Well, I thank you guys so much for sitting in on my performance and learning more about Broken. Thank you and have a great afternoon.